Fish Co. This is a sustainable seafood cafe, and what I've got here is some Albacore Tuna, which is a beautiful tuna which is much more sustainable than something like a bluefin or a yellowfin tuna. It's got quite a pale flesh, as you can see, and the reason why it is more sustainable is that it's not such a big fish. A big yellowfin or a bluefin tuna gets to maybe 100 kilos. They'll take maybe 10 years to get to maturity, and so that's a fish that isn't very, very sustainable. Whereas something like an Albacore tuna will maybe take 2 or 3 years to get to maturity. It will get to maybe 20 or 30 kilos as a maximum, and so it's got a much higher biomass. It means that there's more of it. It means that it's not so endangered. It swims in different areas to the large schools of big tuna, and it's kind of more sort of similar to something like a bonito, which is a much smaller fish again. It's the kind of thing that the yellowfin eat for breakfast, and it's just a beautiful fish. No one would know the difference in terms of flavour when it's served as fresh. At the moment we're doing it with a chamula marinade, so that's a Moroccan spice mix, and we just sear the tuna, and we serve it with a pomegranate couscous with sour cherries and cranberries and pistachio nuts and things like that. So I'm just going to put that fish there. We're kind of leaving it in sort of logs like that, so that when we sear it, we'll have the crust of the spices and a rare piece in the middle, and then we can slice that up like that. So it's a delicious fish, and it's very underutilised. So it actually means that they say that a lot of the fisheries are in very good stock. They're not endangered in any way. And we remove this dark bit, which is called the bloodline, because that's very bitter. So if you go to a fishmonger and they're trying to serve you a slice of tuna with that dark bit on it, just ask them to cut it off, because it just really has a not very good taste. Again, what we're going to do, we've got a seam running down here. We're just going to go on top of the seam in one slice like that. Whenever you're doing fish prep, you've got to do it very, very carefully, but working with long strokes as opposed to kind of jagged, short cuts. So at Fish Co, all of our fish is certified as sustainable. So what that means is that we can guarantee exactly where it comes from, and that's really important, because you've got people who are coming in for different reasons. You've got people who are coming in for fish and chips, and you've also got people who are coming in specifically for the sustainability aspect of the food. So just nice long cuts when you're cutting the tuna. And it's got a much paler flesh, but it's got a delicious taste, and it's something that is really worthwhile looking out for. And it's available. One of the ways that they're catching it is called pole and line caught. So what that means is they actually are fishing the tuna out one by one out of the ocean, as opposed to in a long line. This is a beautiful fish that comes from Coorong in South Australia, and it's called a Coorong yellow-eyed mullet, but I don't actually use the word mullet because I think it puts people off what is a really delicious fish. And it's very high in omega-3, but the oils in the skin, not in the flesh. So the flesh isn't oily like a mackerel or a sardine. We often put it on as our fish of the day, served with a warm black olive dressing with roasted red capsicum and rosemary and things like that. Yeah. And the Coorong is an extraordinary body of water, where the Murray flows, when the Murray does flow, it flows out to the sea through the Coorong. And it's a kind of estuarine area that's been cut off of the sea for thousands of years. And it's a highly salty saline area. So when the fish come into that area to breed and to feed, they take on a much, much sweeter flavour. So a yellow-eyed mullet, or a yellow eye, from the Coorong tastes really quite different from one just from the ocean. It tastes much, much sweeter and delicious, and it's not really that used in Sydney, so I'm one of the few people who is using it. I know that Kylie Kwong used it as well at Billy Kwong, and also Mark Jensen used it at Red Lantern. Both those chefs are very interested in sustainability, and so that's why we're using it. But it's got full MSC certification, so from the Marine Stewardship Council, as being sustainable. It's a delicious fish. It's high on omega-3, and much more people should eat it.